If you've ever read a National Enquirer magazine, surfed the internet, or spent any amount of time watching television, you've most likely heard of the mysterious bipedal creature called Bigfoot. Although Bigfoot has become somewhat of a household name, other cultures around the world have reported similar creatures of their own. For some different spins on an old legend, here are 5 Bigfoot-like creatures from around the world. In the remote wilderness of eastern Afghanistan and Pakistan's Shishikhu Valley, there may live a human-like creature known as the Barmanu, also known as the Hairy One. The creature's range places it smack in the middle of the region where the better-known Yeti and Alma are thought to live, and it's frequently thought that they might be the same creature. Spanish cryptozoologist Jordi Margriner first brought attention to the Barmanu, describing it as resembling a Neanderthal, sometimes wearing animal skins and possessing an especially foul stench. The description shares notable similarities to the description of America's legendary skunk ape. Margriner and a team of investigators traveled regularly to the region between 1992 and 1994, reporting footprints and grunting sounds throughout the night, which they attributed to a quote-unquote primitive voice box. Margriner continued his research, but in 2002, he was brutally murdered by his Pakistani guide just a few weeks before he had planned to return to Europe with his findings. The Alma, which is Mongolian for wild man, hails from the Altai Mountains of southern Mongolia. Professor Boris Porshnev of the Moscow Academy of Sciences used eyewitnesses' accounts to put together this composite description of the beast. The professor indicated that the creature has no underlayer of hair, so the skin can sometimes be seen. He also indicated that the creature's head rises to a cone-shaped peak, and its teeth are like a human but larger, with the canines more separated and widely set apart. Porshnev's description also noted that the Alma could run as fast as a horse, and that the breeding pairs lived together in underground burrows, eating small animals and vegetables and emerging only at night. Similar to the Barmanu, the Alma is also said to have a distasteful odor. The Chuchunaa is a hominid cryptid rumored to live in the snowy depths of Siberia. Described as almost 6 feet tall with protruding eyebrows, long matted hair, and a full beard, many people believe this to be the only surviving Neanderthal or Homo gardenensis. Unlike most of these such legends, the Chuchunaa is commonly reported to wear clothing made of deer skin. At one point, reports of sightings were so frequent that the Soviet government were fairly convinced of the existence of this creature. Since then, there have only been a few modern sightings of the creature, mostly unreliable or unsubstantiated, and a few of the standard blurry or shaky videos that commonly surface around the internet of sightings such as these. Some reports indicate that the Chuchunaa are man-eaters and that they have a tendency to steal food and supplies from campsites. Despite a wealth of tales from throughout history, no physical evidence of any kind has been found to support the Chuchunaa legend. Scotland's version of the European wildman legends is Lailoken, an insane oracle who lived in the forest near what is now Glasgow in the late 6th century AD. Like most European wildman tales, he was often described as covered in hair and wearing ragged animal skins. The most interesting thing about the madman of southern Scotland is his association with a figure known as Merlin. A medieval text known as the Scotiachronicon gives an account of Lailoken's life that is almost identical to the Welsh legends of Myrddin Wylot, one of the forerunners of the Arthurian figure, Merlin. European folklore is rampant with legends of the wild man in the woods, often referred to as the Woodwose. Aside from the fur, these legends bear little resemblance to our modern Bigfoot, but some cryptozoologists still speculate that they indicate the presence of a hominid cryptid throughout the region. Unlike most Bigfoot stories, the Woodwose were most often a hermit who wandered off to live in the woods. Living on acorns and berries, they would grow fur all over their bodies and become less human with each passing day. Stories about the Woodwose steadily declined as Europe entered a modern age. However, Europeans did bring the legend with them to the New World. The first documented sighting of a wild man in North America occurred in 1818 near Ellisburg, New York, when a citizen sighted a hair-covered man sprinting through the forest. Despite a huge search, no trace of the wild man-like creature could be found. Take Europe's wildmen and Woodwose legends, transport them into the New World, mix them with some vaguely matching native beliefs, and you have a convincing explanation for the Bigfoot legend itself. Whatever the truth may be, some cryptozoologists and researchers believe that the wildmen once existed but are now extinct, slowly extinguished by the relentless advance of civilization. And there we have it. Who knew there were so many variations on this classic story? Thanks for watching, and be sure to join me next week for another episode of Miss Lovely's Legends and Lore.